mum's started to go through her stuff now and have a good old clear out because she's moving soon, and she's actually moving here with me because she needs a little bit more looking after, bless her. So that would be much easier for her. And while she was cleaning out her stuff, she came across this. Now, you might be wondering, what is it? Well, it's a music box. Now, it has, and it still works, got a little dancer in it. Now, this has absolutely no monetary value whatsoever, but it has an absolute wealth of sentimental value because this is the first thing that my dad ever bought my mum when they were, as she says, courting. So that is over 60 years ago. Now, my dad's been dead a long, long time. I was only 13 when my dad died, tragically. So this has been put away somewhere in her loft, and it had got damaged, but she couldn't have the heart to throw it out. So that's the backstory to this. You can skip past all that if you want, if it's a bit boring. So what she's asked me to do is to see if I can actually do something with this. Now, I said to her, I'll never get this same material again, so I'm going to have to do something slightly different. But I am going to try and keep it quite nice for her and not too sparkly. So the first thing I need to do is remove this, and that comes off quite easily. Look, it's not brilliant, is it? And it's left behind a little bit of rust that I'll have to clear up as well because I don't want that on there, and that shouldn't be too much of a problem. And the bottom bit will come off really easily. It's got his little feet still in here, and I'm going to have to take off these bits and clean them up as well. And they should just unclip, I think. Oh, I need to unscrew the little lady who's dancing from the bottom as well. So there we go. So that's all come out now, and that gives me the opportunity to not only clean this up, but to put some new bits in it as well and to recover it. But the first thing I'm going to do is give this a bit of a clean. And I'm going to lightly go over this with a wire brush to get all this rust off, or as much of this rust off as I can get, so I'll be able to glue the next lot of fabric down. Now, I don't need to get it all off, I just need to get all that's flaky off it, and then give that a good rub down and get rid of all that dust. And the next thing I'm going to do is clean up these bits here. Now, these are obviously quite tarnished or dirty. I'm not going to restore them to the point that they look brand new because I think that would be a shame. But just giving them a clean with a bit of a baby wipe and then a little bit of hot soapy water should bring them up really nicely. Yeah, and they already look so much better than they did. Surprising how much dirt there is on those bits. That's probably where people have touched it over the years, or where it's been sitting in storage for all these years in my mum's loft. Actually, I'm really surprised at how well that has come up in comparison to the other one. So I'm going to carry on. I'll give these another clean, and then I'll show you how I'm going to do the box. So what I'm going to do now is I've got the original pieces here that came off, even though they're not full size because some bits are ripped and some bits have got lost. What I'm going to do is cut around these so that I've got a pattern, fit this pattern as best I can to that box. And we know that's the bottom bit, so that's not a bad shape. Now I can cut that out and try it on the box. So my pattern has been cut out now, and it does fit perfectly on this box. All I need to do is fold these edges down. Then the material I've got is thicker than the material that was on here, so I'm hoping that isn't going to cause too much of a problem. It's not a great deal thicker, but it is a little bit thicker. And I know Mum will love this material, so I'm quite happy with this. Now, it is just wide enough for me to be able to do this box with. So all I need to do now is cut out my pattern on here. I will link everything that I use in the description below, so that if you've got anything that you've got that is treasured like this and that you want to do something similar, then you can get hold of it. There we go. And I just used a normal pencil for that, and that should cut out really quite easily. And this isn't a real leather, this is a felt-backed vinyl, artificial leather. Real leather, I think, would have been too thick, and it wasn't real leather to start with. We don't want to try and make it to something it's not, but we do want to make it look pretty for Mumsy. Cuts lovely and easy. If you'd like to buy me a coffee to say thank you for any of my videos and to help support this channel, then the link for that is in the description below. And here's the name of everyone that bought me a coffee in the last month or so. Thank you very much. I can't tell you how much it helps me. So that's nicely finished, cut off. I'm going to have to cut some holes in it as well for the feet to go on. And I've still got the original feet and also for the wind-up mechanism. But I can do that once it's been glued on and it's nice and tough. Then I can push the holes through, which which I'll show you in a sec once I've glued it on. So that's the first one, and I'm going to do the second one in exactly the same method. So now I'm going to turn my hand to giving these a clean. Now there's not much I can do with this because this is like a silky material. And I think if I was to do too much with it, what it would do is stain it, and I don't want to stain it. So I'm gonna leave that as it is. Where this is more of a felty material, so what I can do is give that a bit of a clean. The actual dancer itself, she's not too bad, and she's glued onto there, so I can't really do too much with that. So all I'm gonna use to clean this is a stiff brush. Get rid of some of these dusty bits that are in it, like that, because I don't want to have to recover this. I want to try and keep it as original as I can, because I'm having to change the whole of the outside material. Well, just doing that to it has made a real big difference, but I am going to try and see if I can clean it a little bit by using a baby wipe, so it's going to be lovely and gentle. Now, I've got my baby wipe, but what I'm not going to do is, I'm not going to rub it. So all I'm going to do is go around this. Rather than rubbing it, I don't want to rub it because I think if I rub it, I'm going to damage it. So what I'm doing is going around here, pushing that baby wipe on gently, and then lifting it up. And if there's any dust or anything left on there, that should just now lift that dust off. Yeah, I can see it some of it coming off. And hopefully that will brighten that up a little bit more than it is now. Well, I'm now ready to put my top and bottom onto here. I'm going to be using this, which is the Evo Stick Impact Glue, and this is where you cover both pieces with this. Now I'm going to do the bottom bit first because I think that's going to be easier, and I'm only going to put it onto the bottom to start with, and then I'm going to glue the bottom on and the back bit, and then when that's on I will then glue the rest on, because you really only get one chance at this. This stuff you put on in a thin layer, both pieces, and then what you do is leave it for 20 minutes to actually dry on both pieces before you connect it together. And it really does produce a brilliant, absolutely strong connection. And so you're not going to get more than one go at this. And I will likely mess it up. Now this stuff stinks. It really does smell bad. So you do need to work in a very well ventilated area. I'm going to pop my extractor fan on and a fan as well to blow this away from me. So that's made it quite noisy in here. I will try and edit that out for the rest of this video. By editing it out, it may distort what I'm saying, but hopefully not too much. So now I'm going to put a thin layer of this on here as well. And I did a test on this earlier, and it doesn't go right the way through or spoil the colour of the actual vinyl, which is really important, and it does dry clear. This has had its 20 minutes now, so what I'm going to do is contact this onto it. I've got to be really careful here to line this up exactly how I need it. What I'm doing here is getting it into place, folding it over, and then using my fingers here to connect it down all the way. And now that is very well connected, look. And now I'm just using a damp wipe to go over this and push this down and make sure it's got a great contact all the way around. And there we go. So now it's got a really good contact. I can actually turn it over and start to pair these sides. So what I'm going to do now is apply my glue to these sides. While that glue is drying on those sides, what I'm going to be doing is cutting out my circle here where the clockwork bit goes, where you wind up the music box. If I don't do that now, I will forget, and then what will happen is I'll put the rest of it together and then I'll have to take it all apart again. Because I know what I'm like. And that's nice and neat, and that's not going to be seen anyway because it's going to be covered up by the music box. So now I've got those all pleated in, and I literally just went round and put a couple of as neat as pleats in as I could and pushed them down. I've debulked some of this corner here by just cutting off the excess that is there, because I want these to be not as bulky as this, because I've got to put that edging on there. Now what I can do is put my glue on all the way around this edge in here and stick this down and finish that bit off. So I've had to have a change of plan, because once I got this on with the pleated edges, then it was too thick to be able to get this frame back on. So what I'm doing now is I'm doing edges that butt up to themselves, but that's not going to look brilliant. So I'm then going to put a finishing bead on this as well, which I'll show you in a minute. I'm not a restoration expert, I'm a crafter. And this is all about what we learn as crafters, or what we have as crafters, is if something doesn't work, then adapt it and make it work. So hopefully it will work this way now. So now I've got my corners done. They aren't as neat as I would like them. So what I'm going to do is I've got some white ribbon here, and I'm going to glue that onto and cover up those little splits that you can still see, overlapping them slightly at the top like that, and then bringing them down into the bottom as well. And that way I can cover that up and it will still look really nice. And then I'll put the same ribbon around the edge as well, and that will allow me still to fit in the frame that I had before. So it's just a minor modification, but hopefully this is going to work and still look really nice. But the jewellery box is all covered now, so what I need to do is just finish off these feet. Now, they used to be gold, so they're going to be gold again, and all I've got is some gold acrylic paint here to make them a little bit more gold before I put them back on, and before I put the rest of the pieces back in the jewellery box. And I have to say, it is starting to look so much better than it did before. But then I don't think it could look worse. A couple of coats of this gold acrylic paint will look as good as new. Well, rather than glue these little feet on, which is what they did before, I'm actually going to screw them on, so they're going to hopefully last a little bit longer on here. I'm going to cut through my vinyl there like that, so I can get the screw in. And these are just some really thin screws, and now I can screw them into place. Well, now the feet are on, it's just a case of putting the bits back and doing any final little finishing touches I need to do. What I'm going to do first is pop some glue onto this base here, just to hold the actual bit down when it goes on. And that's the bit with the lady, the dancing lady. Again, I'm going to do both sides, so that's ready. And the other bit I need to put in is this. And again, I'm going to push this in right up like that. That bit there goes down and will stick into there, which I'll glue in a second. But this does need to be glued in as well, because if not, it's going to just pop out. And I'm going to do that exactly the same way. It's only made of cardboard, so it's not going to take too much to glue it in, but it's also not going to take too much to pop it out. And now I'm ready to put these in. Now I'm going to pop that one in first, push that down against there, and then get this bit of whatever it is, silk or whatever they want to call it. It's definitely not silk, and pop that into there. Push that back. Well, so that's in there very, very tightly. This round the right way. Push that right down so that we've got it in a right place to be able to put this back on to the wind up bit. And the last thing I want to do is to add just a little bow onto the front here like that. All I'm going to use for this is a little bit of this white Yoo-hoo glue that should hold that onto there really well. A little bit under these ribbony bits to hold that in place. And now I can wind this up and we can see if it works. I think my mum is going to be over the moon with this. I know it's not the same as what it was before. It's got a different covering on it, but the essence of it is all there, and I know that my mum is absolutely going to love it, and I really enjoyed doing that project. If I hadn't been recording, I think I could have got that project done in about an hour, maybe just a tiny bit more. Give it a wipe over where my sticky fingers have been, and there we go. It's ready to give back to my mum. If you've enjoyed this project as much as I have, then boot that like button, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to check out the video that I've got coming up next, because I think you'll really enjoy that one as well. But most of all, enjoy your crafting. Take care. Bye.